And right now at 5, more new reporting on the big story everyone is talking about tonight. Tens of thousands of people gather on the National Mall to show their support for Israel.
Yeah, they came from across the country in solidarity, calling for the release of the hostages held by Hamas and condemn the recent surge in anti-Semitic violence and harassment. Thank you for being here with us tonight at 5. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
I'm Leslie Foster, and that march got started about 4 hours ago. It is just starting to wrap up. So let's get right to our Adam Longo. He has been out there all day and joins us now live near the Capitol.
Yeah, Leslie and Lorenzo, good evening. So this has been a monumental day for tens of thousands of Jewish folks who have descended on the National Mall, coming from all corners of the United States. They have gathered on the mall for this rally that was supposed to have taken place between about 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock today, but in reality, it started first thing this morning. In fact, it started late last night for a lot of folks who were on buses coming from different areas of the country, and we understand that the march is just now wrapping up now. So there is a mission for this rally for Israel, and this is why organizers put on this event today. As I can take you to some video and show you some of what unfolded today. So Jewish organizations say they have a few goals for being here today. The first, to show support for Israel. The second, to push for the release of hostages being held by Hamas. And the third is to join together in their voices to fight against these anti-Semitic feelings that have been raising and bubbling up throughout the past couple of days and weeks, of course, since the surprise attack by Hamas against Israel. So listen, we have live team coverage of what's unfolding tonight, and we'll also be discussing any counter-protests that have been unfolding here throughout the National Mall this evening. We have our Larry Miller live back inside of the studio, who's going to talk to us about the latest in the violence in the war between Israel and Hamas. We have Leslie Moreno, who spoke with a Palestinian restaurant, some of the folks there today, to get their perspective on all of this. But we're going to begin our team coverage tonight with WSA 9's Scott Broom, who is live along the National Mall, where it sounds like this rally is wrapping up. Scott, what are you seeing from your perspective?
Adam, it has completely wrapped up. The mall now is completely empty. In fact, they're beginning to take down some of the security arrangements and fences. As you just reported, this was a day in support of Israel, thinking about the hostages taken by Hamas, and against a rising tide of anti-Semitism, as reported by the Anti-Defamation League. At least a 400% increase in both online and vandalism type incidents throughout the country. This is a community deeply, deeply concerned about that. This was a level 1 security event here in D.C. There were, in fact, National Guardsmen on the street to provide some security support, but no major incidents to report. A lot of people talking, though, sharing their reflections on the day. Here's some of what they had to say.
There's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Jews, and we have never been able to come together like this in such a powerful way.
My main reason is to talk about bringing the hostages back.
We just feel so badly for the kidnapped people, and we want to stand together.
This needs to be a common thing. Anti-Semitism is on the rise in a level we haven't seen since the Holocaust. It's not good. We've seen this before. It's a precursor to things that we don't want to see again.
Those messages, typical of the messages heard throughout the crowd today and from the stage from celebrities of all types throughout this day here on the National Mall today. There's no official estimate of crowd sizes from the National Park Service or others. A lot of the participants here estimated more than 100,000 people, in fact, into the hundreds of thousands of people. The fenced enclosure here on the mall was completely full, and again, beyond that, the crowd went several blocks back on the mall outside the fenced enclosure. No significant counter-protests today occurred inside the security zone, and there were no major incidents to report here as the crowd heads back home to points throughout the nation, and some of them to points throughout the world. Reporting live on the National Mall, Scott Broom. Let's go to Leslie Moreno now, my colleague. She's been at Falls Church today because there is another side to this story and other communities reacting. Leslie, how's it going there?
Hey, Scott, yeah, we're in Falls Church. We spoke with a business over here, the owner of Bawadi behind me. He's been raising money for families in Palestine, in Gaza. He says he had an event yesterday. It was a great turnout. More than 500 people showed up. He tells me the inside of his restaurant was completely packed and the line wrapped around outside of the business twice. He tells me half of the funds that were raised yesterday will will be going to Gaza to families in need there. The owner, Khalid, tells me he lost family back in Gaza. His niece and 3 of her daughters were recently killed. He says it's been heartbreaking to watch what has unfolded in both Gaza and Israel. He tells me he was at the Free Palestine rally in D.C. just a few weeks ago, marching for a ceasefire. He says it's been disappointing to see people in the community marching today.
Personally, I'm very disappointed that people actually still marching for a machine that actually just kills innocent people. With all respect to Israel, there is a lot of means to solve this conflict, and war and killing and bombing is not one of them. If you have a heart, you cannot allow bombing of hospitals and innocent civilians. It's very sad to see people going, and we understand it's a freedom of speech and everybody can have their own opinion, but this is a humanitarian issue.
And the owner says it's been very touching and overwhelming to see all the love and support from people here in his community. Again, he's calling for peace, hoping there can be peace on both sides. And they're still actually accepting donations. So if you'd like to help out, you can do so by heading to WUSA9.com. We're going to toss it over to Adam, who's on Capitol Hill. Adam.
Yeah, Leslie, it's just so unfortunate. As far away as this conflict is, it does cut so close to home for those folks that you talk to and so many others here across the DMV. Leslie Moreto there for us. Thank you so much. Now we're going to check in with Larry Miller because we are getting some new perspective today on the war between Israel and Hamas. As the rally here on the National Mall winds down, we understand that the violence in the Middle East is ramping back up. Let's check in with Larry now. And Larry, I understand that we've got some new video of Israeli soldiers actually on the ground there in Gaza.
Yeah, new video as well as new information as well. Well, tonight, Israeli troops are surrounding Gaza's largest hospital. This, as Palestinian authorities are proposing a supervised evacuation of the complex where many civilians are sheltering. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says at least 40 patients, including 3 babies, have died since emergency generators ran out of fuel Saturday.
Our war is against Hamas, not against the people in Gaza, especially not the sick.
Meantime, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that he is working, quote, relentlessly for the release of hostages being held. Hamas says it's ready to release some of those hostages, up to 70 women and children, in exchange for a 5-day ceasefire. You can count on WSA9 to keep you posted on this story on air and online if anything develops. For now, we'll send it back to Adam Longo live on Capitol Hill. Adam?
Yeah, things developing in this conflict so rapidly. Larry, thank you. And Leslie and Lorenzo, as we bring it back into you, one thing that I just want to note here, in all the planning that led up to today's March for Israel, security was obviously such a massive component of it. Not only security that was brought in from the Jewish Federations of North America, but security brought to bear from Park Police, Capitol Police, MPD, Secret Service, all of these agencies working in tandem together. And we have not heard anything overwhelming about counter-protesters or groups coming together and sparring with one another. And that is the same that we saw here at the pro-Palestinian rally a couple of weeks ago during the fight for Speaker that we witnessed here on Capitol Hill. Out of 350 people who were arrested for going inside of the Cannon House office building and causing a disturbance, only 3 were arrested on minor charges of scuffling with Capitol Police officers. So it would appear moving forward into tonight that we have been able to execute another successful large-scale rally here on the National Mall with very, very few incidents to speak of afterwards. We'll bring it back into you.
Yeah, we heard from so many voices today, and no matter where you stand on this, no matter what you believe, it is clear that so many people are hurting. And everyone in this instance, they're just calling for peace. That's all they want right now.
It is humanity at the core, at the center of all of this. We'll be following what happens in the days, weeks, and months to come. Ads, thank you.
All right.